Hey guys, Jess with PeekabooWreaths. So today we are going to be working on two different bows. I don't know if you remember, but in one of the last videos, I talked about how I sell navy blue and orange football wreaths every single year. Even though we live in Michigan and that is not the colors of Michigan football or Michigan State football or any other colors or football players, football teams that I'm aware of. But there are some southern schools, and I don't know why, but I've already sold, well, I'm thankful. I've already sold out of both of my navy blue and orange football wreaths. So I want to restock my shop and give the people what they want. So these are our choices that we have. These are all like the navy blue, orange, burnt orange, natural colors, because I always put natural things, some type of natural element in my wreaths. So putting on a natural burlap color works. So this is what I have to work with. I know for sure I want to make at least one that says the Tigers on it, because the one that sold, one of the ones that sold did have a bow in it that said Tigers. The other one was just like orange and blue without any mention of the college team or NFL team. So we're just gonna make one with the Tigers for sure. The other one is going to be just a basic orange and blue. So we're gonna start with that. I'm just trying to figure out what colors I want to put in here. I normally do, like, the way that I build my bows is from the bottom up. So I know for sure I want to have this one on the bottom because it's 4.5 inches and it's the widest one I have. I like to start with the widest ribbons on the bottom and then build my way up, like 2.5 and 1.5 inch. And how I normally do it, the pattern I normally do is I'll do like 2 loops on each side, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's it. So I'm trying to think. So I want this for sure, 2, and then 1. I like to try to pick something that has not a lot of pattern if possible. So this one here, it does have pattern in it, but not like, it's not super crazy like this tiger stripe. So we'll do 2, 1, we'll do 2 with, let's see here. Let's do, I was thinking this, but I think I actually like the regular burlap better. And then we're gonna do 1, which will probably be this blue and white stripe. And then 2, let's see, maybe we'll do this on the top. So that's, I think, what we're gonna do for the first one. So let me stack them on up so that I remember what's going on here. So that's what we're gonna do for the top one, or for the first bow. And the second one, I think we're gonna go with this on the bottom. So 2, and then for 1, I guess we'll do 1, 2, we'll do 1, and then we'll do 2. So this will have this on the top. So normally I don't do like 2.5 and then 1.5, but I really want that football colors and theme to be showing up. So we'll do it like that. So then we're gonna set these ones aside because I'm sure we'll use them another time. And let's get building our bow. So I always use this. It's called a bow dabra, and it just kind of serves as an extra set of hands. You can kind of adjust it, push it in if you want to. But that's it. It helps me to be able to hold the bow as I'm going along. So here we go. Yes, so orange and navy blue are the colors that we're going with. We do put, I usually put footballs in there, which are brown. So that's why we can put brown in the colors of the bow, because kind of feeding off the colors that the color scheme that we have going on. So with this ribbon, it is what's called one directional, which means it says Tigers like this. If we flipped it and did the bow like this, it would have Tigers upside down, which is not the look we're going for. So this, when I have ones that are dimensional like that, I build them in my hand and then I put them down into the bow dabra. It's just easier for me to keep track of it. I'm gonna stretch this out, do about a 14-inch tail. Most of the time when I build these football wreaths, The bow is the focal point. I don't add any type of sign usually, unless it's just like a basic football that doesn't necessarily have the team name or anything like that on it. So normally the bottom one I do about 6 inches. So that way it is prominent, but not so big that it's looking floppy. I always used wired ribbon. That way the customer can re-straighten it out if it gets a little scrunched during storage time, and they can use it year after year. So here we go, we're making that second loop. And I'm just making sure that it looks the same as this one over here. You can always measure it too. I always use a self-healing mat underneath my wreath making area so that I can tell how long things are when I'm cutting them. So we got these 2 loops already, and then we're going to put one more on this side, and then we're going to cut the tail, and we're going to move on to our next color and pattern. So here we go. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe so that you are telling YouTube that you like the materials that I'm putting out. It'll show you more of my wreaths and videos as I post them, and all the good things. So let's just try to cut this. There you go. It's kind of a weird angle. All right, and then I'm going to set this one aside so that I know that I used it and it's out of the way. So here we go. We're just going to gather that like that and put it down in the Bodabra. There we go. And just kind of straighten it out a little bit. As you can see, I try to keep my tails similar lengths. This one needs to be trimmed a little bit to make it the same as the other one. And I always make like an inverted V. It's called a dovetail. It gives it a more polished look, like that. There are scraps to the side. Something that's helpful when you're making wreaths is to have a garbage can right off to the side there, so it doesn't get too crazy. All right, so here we go. We have our first layer done. I'm gonna just open up the loops just a smidge. As I'm building my bow, I like to kind of keep it organized a little bit. So we have there 2. Now we're gonna go for our 1. What kind of helped me with this decision too, to make this a 1 loop on each side, is seeing that I don't have a ton left. So if I did 2 on each side, I might not have enough, honestly, so that helped too. All right, so I make the next tail about 1 inch shorter than the last one, so that when this is on the wreath, you can see all the tails when they're all spread out. I'm just stretching this out. I'm making this design ribbon 1 loop on each side. So it'll lay right in between those 2 there. Stretching it out, gathering it, laying it down in that bow maker. There we go. And I'm cutting that tail. And I always use straight pins to keep all the rest of that spool a little bit under control. Okay. And then we're gonna dovetail this one. This one is a little bit sparkly and glittery, which is very nice. All right, so we're moving on to our next one. This is gonna be a 2 loop on each side. One tip for making wreaths and bows is to buy 50-yard rolls of the ribbon if you know that you're gonna like it and use it a lot. That way, sometimes it's less expensive that way, but also just kind of gives you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that you can possibly duplicate that design without it running out. I do sell some ribbon in my Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/PeekabooWreaths. Mostly it is in 5-yard increments. So if you need a little bit to make your ribbon tails in your wreath, that might be a good choice. So there we go. Just gathering it, putting it down in there, making sure that the pretty side is up, even though this ribbon kind of looks the same on both sides. A lot of times the side that is the unfinished side, you'll be able to see the metal on the edges since they are wired ribbons. So it does matter. I'm just gonna pull that in. Let's get that a little bit under control. This bow dabber is getting a little bit stretched out because I've used it so much. It's not as tight as it once was. And that looks pretty too because this burlap is a little bit lighter than this burlap, so it helps it stick out a little bit. Okay, now we're going with the one layer with this navy blue polka dot. What's kind of nice about wreath making is that you can mix and match the different patterns and textures. There's no like specific rule. But what I do like to do if I am going to be mixing a lot of different colors and patterns is include some solids in there, like this plain burlap one, so that it just kind of breaks things up a little bit. Okay, so we're making one loop on this side, so we're going to make another loop on this side. There we go. And what's good to remember too is that even when you're doing like a themed wreath like this, like where this bow is going to be, where it's mostly orange and blue, you can incorporate some neutral colors like the burlap or brown or a little bit of white polka dot like I did in that one. There we go. I kind of have a tendency to make my tails shorter on this side than this side. I have no idea why or what causes that exactly, but I have noticed that. Okay, and then we're going to take this burnt orange and put it on the top on this one, and then we're going to be, I think, done with this bow. Let me think. Oh, this is what I meant to do. This okay. So, I don't know if you guys saw, but in one of my last videos, I posted about how you can buy these, they're children's luau skirts, is what they are. And what's kind of cool is the texture is the same as raffia that you would buy at the craft store. So I've never done this before, but I mean, there's a first time for everything. I'm just going to take these and I'm going to bring them in like this, overlap it slightly, and then stick it down in my bow just to kind of give it a little bit more texture. So here we go. I'm just going to gather them so that none of them fall out, and then just put them right down in that bow like this, and then it'll peek out a little bit, and it's just a little bit extra rustic charm. Okay, so here we go. Let's put it's kind of like a rusty copper color. We're going to put it right down over that, over that raffia bow, and it will stay put because it'll be gathered in our pipe cleaner. I'm just going to put 2 loops on each side. And you can, I do plan for this, the bow, or the wreath that this bow is going on, to incorporate that raffia in some of the ties. So I think putting it in the bow is a good look. It's kind of fun because like some of the wreaths that people like that are the orange and blue, sometimes they like it to be like very fallish, and sometimes people like it to be more rustic or more glamorous. Like there's a lot of different ways that it can go, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's fun to mix and match the different styles as well. I'm just gonna cut that off. I know my ribbon's trying to get away from me. One of these days I'm gonna have to buy a new one. A new Bodabra anyways. Alright, so put that down in there, trim this tail. Okay. And then I'm gonna very carefully, I'm just gonna kind of make sure that all my loops look similar. If you need to, you can kind of pull them a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take my thumb in my hand and I'm going to kind of pinch it all underneath here. This is called a bow stack. It's like a stack of ribbons that make your bow. I'm gonna take about like the top inch or so, gather it around the back. We have a loose burlap part, raffia part I should say. And then we just pull it as tight as you can. You can use a zip tie, some people do that, and then they add a pipe cleaner to the back of the zip tie before they tighten it all the way so that they can add it to their wreath. Alright, so I'm just kind of fixing my tails here, making sure that they're all facing down. Since that bow is, we just attached it really tightly, you can pull on the tails like this and it's not gonna, nothing should come loose. I do like to kind of straighten out the loops before it gets on the wreath, just a little bit, so it's a little bit less work once I have it on the wreath. And then get that little button bow at the top. There we go. This blue one goes in the middle. These ones open up. These ones open up. And there you go. So that's our first bow. What do you guys think about that? And there's the tails. Alright. Moving on to our next one. Just gonna set it aside carefully. Alright, let me take a moment to reset here. Get my ribbons a little bit under control. There we go. So what are you guys up to today? I know that it is a nice day here in Michigan. It is, let's see, it is supposed to be in the like right now it's already in the 80s. And I think it's gonna get even hotter today, which is nice. So let's get our next bow going. We're gonna grab this one first. It has a really pretty orange, like, it's not called variegated. It has really pretty reds to oranges in the colors of the leaf. And it inspires me that when I do build that wreath to include leaves that are this color as one of the details too. All right, so I'm making a similar tail length, about 14 inches. Twist it, put it down in the bow maker. This one is not one directional, it's, you know, any direction you want. So I don't have to worry about making sure that all the footballs are going the same way or the leaves are going the same way or anything like that. All right, so I'm putting it down in my bow maker. I see that I made it a little bit short, so we're stretching it out about 5.5 inches. I've learned that sometimes if I make the loops too big, it just looks kind of floppy. And then when I put it in my wreath, it kind of gets like, when you attach it to the wreath, it doesn't stand up right. It just kind of looks like it's like sucked into the wreath, which is not a good look. Our ribbons and our bows are supposed to stick out, be the focal points. We want it to demand its presence. We're spending a lot of money on our ribbons, so we want to make sure that they are standing out and looking like we want them to. Alright, so I'm cutting that tail, same length as the first one, winding it back up. Let me know in the comments below, are you a wreath maker, or are you just somebody that likes to watch how things are made behind the scenes, or are you thinking about starting to make wreaths in the future? Let me know in the comments below. So we have that. We got our 2 on each side. We're gonna add 1 of this blue and white plaid. Just dovetail it like before. What's kind of cool is that even if when you follow the same like recipe of how to make a bow, they still look completely different because of the patterns that you use, and if you add any extra embellishments or anything like that. So it's kind of fun to see it all turn out like that. Okay, so we have 1 on this side. I'm gonna put 1 over here. Yeah, now that those 2 wreaths sold, the navy blues and oranges, it gives me a sense of urgency to get going and get working on making the next ones, so that if customers are still looking for them, it doesn't say sold out, and then they go buy them from somewhere else. So gotta give them what they want. So there we go. All right, we're gonna do these really pretty. I think it's like an orange reflective leaf. Put that on here. And another good tip is if you know that you like a certain pattern, you can always stock up on it for next year. Because a lot of times when we start making wreaths, it might not be what's out in the stores yet. I know a lot of stores are starting to put their fall stuff out, which is good for crafters, not good for people that are just starting to enjoy their summer, I guess. But anyways, if you start stocking up, then when it comes to be like football wreath season, which you wouldn't think the beginning of July would be football wreath season, but here we are. You'll have a stock of this stuff already, and then you won't have to be like, oh no, they don't have it in the store yet. How am I gonna make these wreaths? Right? You'll already have it all ready to go. I'm just laying this out here. Try to straighten that out a little bit. This one is kind of sticking to itself in the roll, giving me a little bit of a hard time. Alright, there we go. We're going to pull this one down, make our tail. Similar length as the first one. Again, these are all wired ribbons. This orange one, I like it so much. I have this about a half of a roll left, and then I have a new roll I saw as well. So there we go. Okay, we're gonna do one, which is, let's change my mind, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do this one. I like the way this one looks. It's super pretty. I used this one on our last wreath, that pancake style wreath. It has like a frayed edge, and it's also wired, so it'll hold its shape even though it looks nice and wild. And like you wouldn't think there'd be a wired edge in there, but there is. So there we go. And that way we can put our football ribbon on top. There we go. Stretch it out a little bit to make that tail. And this matches too if I do use burlap mesh or any type of raffia in that wreath as well. I'm trying to think if I want to include that in the bow again. I liked the way that looked a lot. So yeah, I'm going to do that again. So this is really easy to use because it's already on like the skirt here. So you just kind of pull it and cut it. And again, I bought this. It's a kid's luau skirt. Okay, I'm just taking it, I'm just overlapping it a little bit, the best I can, so it's not falling apart. And then just kind of gathering it in the middle there. There we go. And if it does come apart, I mean, it just adds to the rustic look. So I mean, it's not a bad thing. As long as it doesn't all come out. There we go. And we're going to take this one We're gonna make our 2 loops with this one to kind of solidify. I like to put the ribbon that really, if say it's like a ladybug wreath, I would put like a ladybug ribbon on top, not just plain red usually, just to kind of help bring it home that that is what this is about. We are here for orange and blue football. Whether it's whichever team that could be. And then this is going to be shown through the back. I think in this one, I'm not going to even put a center loop because I think I'm going to put, I have some really pretty orange sunflowers, and I think I'm going to put one of those in the middle of this bow when I add it to the wreath, and then also include orange sunflowers in the design of the wreath. So I think that'll look really pretty. I'm just going to stretch this straight down. And then we're just about done here. See, so if anybody asks why wreaths cost so much money, which I mean, I guess you haven't made it until you start getting negative comments, right? But, and it doesn't bother me. It's just, it's kind of like anything else. I remember when I would first start going to craft shows and handmade shows, and I would be like, why does that cost so much? You could just buy it at the store for less. But here's the thing, you can't just buy it at the store for less. It's not the same quality. And the people that understand my wreaths and follow me and support PeekabooWreaths, they understand that you can't buy this at the store, right? It's not the same. It's not the same quality. You don't have the same hands making it, you know, a real person making a handmade item, real hands. So, or American hands, not to get too one way or the other, but all right, so here we go. I'm just pulling all my tails down, putting them in the right order. These are wired, so there we go. And I'm straightening out my loops. This one will go straight down, and then the flower or embellishment will go right in the middle. We have our burlap, we have this one, we have our orange leaves, our navy plaid. There we go. And you can see everything. There we go. This is our second bow. Nice and full and beautiful. Ready to go on our next wreath. All right, next time I see you, we will be assembling our blue and orange wreaths together. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.